Hey, I'm Jon Thelen. Today I'm Fish Ed. We're up in North Dakota. We're fishing some prairie lakes up here. Man, I'll tell you what, there's some pretty cool fishing up here, but it's different fishing than what you're used to in the core Midwest Canadian Shield type lakes. There's a couple tips and tricks that go along with catching walleyes out here, and it's actually pretty simple. Stay right where you're at. Fish Ed's coming up. There's one right there. Look at that. You got to pay attention. It's neat to be able to fish two lines, but a lot of times what happens is you lose track of what you're doing for just a second, and that fish nails it. Look at that great walleye to start our day right here. Look at that. That's awesome. That's exactly what we're here to do today. This is a really neat deal that we're doing today too, and this is something that is one of the most overlooked patterns there is. Yeah, walleye, what a great way to start. We'll pitch him in the live well, but here's what we're doing today. Totally different than what most people would think about. Midsummer, hot water. I mean, we're in that 70-degree range. Most of the time, what goes through your head in that situation is, I gotta go deep. I gotta go out and look for these fish in deep, deep water. Well, here's what we're doing today. I'm in 7 feet of water or less. And what we're doing is we're just cruising with aggressive baits, and we're triggering fish that are in here for several reasons. We'll talk about it today, but this is one of the most overlooked patterns you can ever fish. And when you get on it, you look around right now, we're all by ourselves. Everybody else is out fishing deeper water today, and we're catching fish for a few reasons, and we'll talk about them here as we go. There's one right there. Ooh, he spit. Look at that. There's one on that rod too. I think he's still there. Yep, he's still there. I just set that one back to try to make sure I was set right where I wanted to be, and we must have just come through a pile of fish because that one got hit right when I slowed down there. And then this walleye, oh geez, come here, buddy. This one, he was on there. I guess 1 for 2 isn't too bad, but man, I'll tell you, this is some fun fishing, and it happens so fast when you're in a situation like we're in right here. I mean, you can see these fish, when they hit hard, and I'll tell you why. They're in shallow, shallow water, and I always tend to feel that in shallow water, walleyes just hit harder. They attack harder, they attack from further away, and they attack with more speed. And fish like that one right there, I mean, he just came railing in here. Let's pitch him in there. Let me show you what I'm using today, because I think it makes a big, big difference if you're using the right baits in shallow water. I don't think out in deeper water, I don't think it always makes as big a difference as in shallow water. And I'll tell you why. I think these fish here, they need something that triggers them. They're not swimming around looking for stuff as much in this shallow water. They're looking for triggers because I'm trying to pull them out of a weed bed, or I'm trying to get them to chase a bait down. I'm using the new 1.5 inch Little Guy. And here's what's so cool about this bait. It's a combination, and we've talked about this a lot over the years. It's a combination of a crankbait action with a night crawler behind it. And when these fish attack it, they just smoke it. I don't even hold the rod most of the time on these. I just let them hook themselves right in the rod holder. But what this bait's doing is it's making noise, it's making vibration, it's giving off color, and it's giving off flash. All of those things that a walleye needs to be able to attack a bait when they've got to travel a little ways to get to it. And I always tend to think that when I'm in that shallower water, that an aggressive style bait makes a big, big difference. Then the other thing I want to show you is in this shallow water today, I mean, it's so often you hear me talk about using an 1.5 ounce bottom bouncer, because that's pretty standard. When I'm fishing 10, 15 feet or deeper, I'm always using that 1.5 ounces, it seems like. But when I'm fishing this shallow, shallow water like we're doing here, today I'm just using a 3/4 ounce bottom bouncer. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm just trying to get a little bit further back away from the boat, and this lighter bottom bouncer will just tick along the bottom, and it's not bothering anything where I'm at because I'm on the hard bottom side of everything here. Right in there is those weeds. Right out here, I'm in that hard bottom side, so I don't mind that thing just ticking along right there, and it gets me a little bit further back. It can make a huge, huge difference in this shallow water if you're just 10 feet further back from the boat. There's one. Got it. Sometimes it's just as easy to do what I did there. When they're biting it, just pull it out of the rod holder slow and start reeling, because you got to remember, We're already going 1.5 miles an hour. Ooh, that's a good eye. It's a bigger eye than I thought he was. We bit it. I mean, he's not a giant by any means, but that's a great fish right there. Look at that. That's awesome. But that fish right there, I mean, I just watch him tap, 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 and all of a sudden that rod just starts to double over, and we're going fast enough that what happens is that fish hooks himself. And he kind of did us a favor there, and all I had to do was pick it up, reel him in. Look at that. You know, the other thing that's really neat about what we're doing here today is you're able to fish so effectively, and what I mean by that, look at that eye right there. That's awesome. But one of the things I'm doing is we've kind of identified that on this pass we lined up on to take this morning, what we've done is identified that there's an area that's holding fish, and it's not huge. It's right along this island, and you know, there's weeds that go all the way up there, and there's weeds that go all the way back there. But it seems like most of the fish are holding right here pretty tight along this island. And one of the things I'm able to do, because I'm fishing these little guys and I'm fishing fast, is I'm able to just keep whipping around. So what we're doing now is we're consistently fishing about a 200-yard stretch. And when you can get it dialed into that, and you can keep turning as quickly as we are and going back over these fish, you don't miss any of the aggressive ones. Let me tell you a little bit about this location too, because this is the kind of location that actually exists in a lot more bodies of water than you think. What we're looking for is an area that has one of two things. It has weeds in there, or we have dirty water. But either way, here's one of the things I really want. I want a softer bottom where weeds can grow. Then when you get the wind coming in here like this, boy, it's just dynamite. You add that dirty water, and these fish, they'll hang out in this shallow water all through the summer months, as long as there's food here. And the food's here because of those weeds. The dirty water makes them feel really comfortable, and then add on top of it the perfect wind today. Just that little bit of wind coming into that weed bed, and that moves the whole system. The bait's moving, the walleyes are cruising the outside edge of those weeds. There's pike in here. There's fish just stacked up in here eating. And you can find that situation in a lot of lakes. Just do this, rule out those rock areas at this time of the year. When you get to midsummer like this, shallow rocks with the wind coming in, it's not gonna be the same as it was in the spring and it's gonna be in the fall. But in the summertime, boy, you find those weedy areas like this, it can just be a gold mine. There's one. Look at this, just eating at it. He's got it. There he is, right there, got him. Man, he was just hanging on there. He grabbed it, he was just hanging on there. I love the fact that you get these fish up so fast. I mean, we're already here. I mean, that's it. We're up here already. And let's see what we got with this one. Oh yeah, another good eater eye. A little bit smaller than what we've been catching the majority of the day, but you know what? Great eater fish. Throw that guy in. He's a good eater. Take him home. Ooh, look at that. Just when I get done dealing with that littler guy, it just goes to show you that these fish, and this is a better one too, I think. Oh yeah, they're all together right in one little area. And you know, we were talking about this earlier, the ability to constantly just turn around and go right back through a school of fish. And you can do that fishing a faster bait like we're fishing with these little guys. And just trucking along like this, and man, I'll tell you, that right there wraps up a great day of fishing. And this is one of those patterns, I'll tell you, you can go out and you can do, because nobody else is out here doing this. Just look for those right conditions. Look for that little bit of dirty water, that underwater weeds that we talk about, and then cruise along those edges with something aggressive like we're using today with those little guys. And I'll tell you what, you can get after fish that are untouched, spend most of their summer in here eating on minnows and all kinds of stuff, and you're not gonna find other anglers here. You're gonna be able to sit on this stuff all by yourself. And these spots, they exist all throughout the Midwest, especially when you get into western Minnesota and then work your way out through the Dakotas. This is some cool fishing right here.